And welcome to the live podcast. And this is actually episode 14, I believe.
14.
I think it is. I have
I'm
no
bad
clue.
with numbers.
So am I.
So
I
the
have
last
no
one
clue.
was 13. Just saying.
Oh, was it? Because you got me. I have no clue. I have no clue what they
All
are.
right, well,
Not anymore.
welcome to episode
Old.
14. A new record.
New record. New high scored.
Yay!
So, we are starting new with everything. If you are on our Twitch, make sure you refresh the page or hit play so it'll go again. Sometimes you have to wait for the ad. Other than that, it should be running fine. If you can't hear us or you have any sound problems, let us know. Other than that, we are pretty much good. I'm trying to see. Okay, we definitely got chat within everything.
Yep.
And we're at 0 viewers by the thing. But it could be the problem. It looks like Twitch is having an issue right now. I'm
It's
gonna refresh.
twitching.
It's twitching.
I've got it back up, so it looks like it's going. Fat Corby's still here, so
Okay,
thumbs
there
up.
we go. Yeah, it looks
Hi,
like
Corby.
I had to refresh the entire page. So if you're there, make sure you refresh the entire page. So this is episode 14, where we introduced our brand new co-host,
Yay!
Cathy. Yay! Awesome. So, but before we do that, we have to talk about something that's important, something that helps us keep our bills on, so helps us pay the bills, helps us do things, help us get everything done. And Mr. John Spencer, would you like to take that over?
God, you caught me just trying to post that we're live on Facebook.
I know. Figured I'd get you on that one.
So
Tell
that's
me-
our Patreon account.
What is our patron account?
Good Lord, do I know?
Yes, you do know.
That's Patreon something.com.
It's
I'm sure it's
www.patreon.com
patreon.com. Probably
/ more than dice. But
/
what are our
more than dice.
rewards?
Man, you can't throw it on me like, oh, I'm trying to promote it. You can't
Quit
throw me under the bus like
Quit
that.
slacking.
Well, I'm actually anti-slacking. I'm trying to get people to come watch.
Multitasking.
Poorly, apparently. Patreon.com, come support us. At the... God, I don't remember. You changed all the levels. I don't remember. I was about
didn't
to
change
say
all the levels.
but... Oh, so... At $1 level, you get to listen to the pre-ramble. We get that. You can come check that out. We send that to you every week. At the $2 level, in addition to wonderful solo podcasts and videos by myself and Cathy, you also get the wonderful More Than Dice games. No, More Than Dice. Dice?
Yay!
Dice? More Than Dice. Dice.
Dice,
And-
baby.
Nice.
They're nice, cool blue dice with the More Than Dice logo on the 6 because you put the logo on the 6 because the dice want to show you the cool thing on them. If you put it on the 1, it wants to show you the cool thing and you roll more 1s, and that is not good except in very rare cases. So you get those, and then is at the higher level you get... God, you did change it up actually.
I did give you one, but there was difference.
So at $15 per episode, which would be we don't charge for more than 4 episodes a month, generally speaking. You would get the raffle for one of the miniatures that Cathy paints, and if you've seen her butcher's goalposts, you know that she is super legit and super sweet,
Yes.
and her stuff is meaty.
It is
Very meaty.
And apparently, if we get 5 patrons to pledge $20 each, Cathy will wrap Will Smith's Wild Wild West on tape.
She will do it live on the podcast.
Yes,
And-
yes, I will. That's a true story. I can't promise to do it well, but I'll give it a shot.
That's right.
And you
So-
kill me. Apparently, on $5 is when we get the everyone gets the free Cathy and me. You get Cathy's video on painting and such, and you get my minis and movies bonus cast. You're getting me, Gonzo. Stop that! I've been gone
Minis
for
and movies.
Well, I have to keep you on your toes. You know that.
I worked more this week than I had off this week. That's
Oh, I
that's
know.
bad math. My brain is.
It's okay.
I can't make that sound again. Don't try.
That's what makes you so entertaining.
That and alcohol, I'm sure.
So,
So
with
there
that,
you
guys,
go.
the patron is very important to us. It helps us pay the bills, helps us keep us going. And every bit we take in, we send it either A, pay bills, or B, give y'all something in return. So, because I'm going to have to eventually pay Cathy to paint miniatures. I mean,
Yep.
she's actually pretty good, so we'll have
Yeah,
to wait and
yeah.
see. Other than that, Cathy, this is your first full podcast, right?
Yes, it is.
So we're gonna have to have you lead off on what are you drinking today?
I have a variety of things next to me, starting with water.
Oh,
What?
I have also French vanilla hot tea,
oh.
and I'm drinking a rum and Coke Zero Sugar. And surprisingly, rum goes really well with Coke Zero Sugar. Or
Fair
maybe
enough.
not surprisingly.
Rum and Coke's pretty standard, but super legit.
So with that said, John, what are you drinking today?
Well, I'm going to start off. I've got a shot of something new I bought that's called American Honey, which is a honey liqueur infused with whiskey, because you know how I like whiskey infused stuff.
You're gonna get mad at me.
Oh, am I?
Yes.
That's probably not. And I'm following it up with a nice heaping mug of Southern Comfort Cherry. I had to get a new bottle because I finished the last one.
Does it taste like NyQuil?
It actually does. It tastes NyQuil, but less medicine-y.
I can't even.
It's got that NyQuil-y cherry, that sort of cherry hit to it, but it's less medicine-y. It's very, very good. And then I mix it with cherry Coke because I wanted to double down on cherry and get a little cola in there.
Ooh. Well, I could see that.
Yeah, I've done it with Dr. Pepper. You kind of lose a little bit there, so I did the cherry Coke. I might try regular Coke next time, or I might just drink it straight because it's one of the few I drank the rest of the bottle on our last role-playing session because I am bad.
Which we got to talk about that though.
We do have to talk about that. I got a whole bunch right here on this little recorder that I have to upload and give to you when I decide to have time.
What?
I'm
You have to have time to do that?
It takes time. And brain power. I need the brains.
You need the brains.
Gonzo, what are you drinking? Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm actually a little under the weather today, so I'm definitely having some water. I gotta have some
And
water.
bourbon?
Well, not technically.
I mean-
I'm actually, well, there's a story behind this. So let me do the story first, and then I'll talk about what I'm drinking. At MomCon, there was a Canadian that was trying to play ship captain crew, and he didn't have the money. So I sponsored him. And I took the money and threw it down the table. I says, you get to play, and I'll sponsor you. And if you win, you can keep all the winnings, but you owe me a bottle of something. And he's like, okay. And, of course, he won, so he kept the money. I don't know how much he made. I didn't care. But, so he came back, of course, the War Machine weekend, because he was in the qualifier, and it was Josh Bates. And so I have my own personal bottle of Sortilege.
Ooh,
So,
breakfast whiskey.
I
yes.
don't hate you because we can actually get that locally. As a matter of fact, on the most recent episode of Adventures of Sewer Bear, we actually talk about that a little bit because Not Brushhead Dave is going to get some. He sees an excuse to go, 45 minutes to go drive and get it.
See, so I have a full bottle of that, but I'm not going to be drinking the full bottle. I've got just a little, a small bit, because I want to make sure that I'm doing okay. So other than that, cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, damn, that's good.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, I drank a lot of it at War Machine Weekend this last week, so...
This is the part of the podcast where we all smack our lips.
Sorry, it's drinking's important. It's part of what we do.
Yes, very much so.
If you guys are really lucky, I won't start one of my Tootsie Pops while I'm on the cast. And by real lucky, I mean I'm not going to. That's really rude.
So,
So-
Gonzo, do you have waffles to dip in your sortilege?
Oh
No.
my god. Eggos and sortilege? I'm
Right?
fucking in. I'm in.
I do have waffles, but not right now with me. I'm trying to be kind of,
Waffles
been
and
kind of
sortilege,
under the
breakfast
weather.
of champions. Holy moly.
Just saying.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sunday. All right, next Sunday I'll do that. I'll take some waffles instead of putting peanut butter and syrup on it. I'll just dip it in that and eat it.
Sounds good to me. Peanut butter
I will
and
You
be
can
syrup.
give us, give us the review.
I will be fucked up for that.
Are you driving afterwards? Because if
No.
not, okay. Yeah, you're fine.
No, I am not. So, we have a pretty packed podcast today. One, we got our Ask Cathy questions. So, if anybody's listening,
Wait,
Ask
can you
Cassie.
enunciate that?
no.
Oh, ask Cathy. There's 2 K's in that, or a K and a C. Sorry.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about War Machine Weekend, which if you didn't get to go or got to go, you'll understand. And then we also have Company of Iron. We'll do a Company of Iron review. And we'll talk about Adventures of Sewer Bear.
Oh, good.
Super Bear. And I had the Adepticon planning meeting today, wherein I got some Necromunda stuff.
Oh, yeah, we gotta talk about that. Cathy is privy to some Necromunda stuff, so we're gonna
And-
try to put her up on there so you can kind of see what she's doing and playing with them. If she can you?
I'm sure I can. I'm just going to be cutting stuff off of sprues, but I can hold it up to the camera.
Yeah, what we'll do is whenever we get it, I will set up a camera and try to make you the largest part on the screen so people can see that. Yes, big old fish face. Don't kiss the camera. So, other than that, let's go and get started with our big one. What do you want to start with first, John?
God, why don't we start with War Machine Weekend? That's the big one, right?
No, that's the most awesome one.
That
Okay,
looked
wait
like a
minute.
lot of fun.
Actually, how was the videos? How were the live stuff that I did? Did it come through pretty good?
It was
Yeah.
role playing. I didn't get them. Sorry.
John, you're so fired.
I,
I haven't even had a chance to listen.
Wait,
I didn't get a
we
chance.
were supposed to watch that?
No, you were just supposed to make sure it went through.
I actually did watch a couple of them, and they
No,
were good.
it looked fun. Yeah.
Oh, I had a blast. I mean, I love War Machine Weekend. It's my must go to every year. The last con of the year. It was pretty packed. We had quite a bit going on. We had to change up a few things because we had very little, very, very little, I mean small amount of helpers this year.
Oh,
Because since the press gangers were disbanded.
yeah. You got to find actual helpers.
Yeah, so we didn't have a lot of people helping out, which is okay. We still had everything running. Everything went okay. I know a lot of people weren't going to volunteer because, well, they're probably not going to get compensated for anything. Although we did get compensated. Just not
But
compensated like when Privateer Press did it.
Yeah, it's more difficult, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, I would press gang and get my points, and I would be like 400 or 500 points for that weekend
Mm-hmm.
type thing. And of course, now it's gone, so we got something else, which is still cool. Tournament went really well. I have to shout out to my girl Erica for running the scrambles, and at one point she was doing a 64-man scramble.
Holy crap! That's not a scramble. That's an actual tournament.
Yeah. Well, what it
Well, I
was
got-
is they were doing a pods, and they were doing pods for a King of the Hill tournament, and like the winner of the scramble got put in, and then you would bracket up until you win. Her and Brad worked it together. She did a lot of the organizing and stuff and making sure everything. I mean, really, you shouldn't have any rules during a scramble questions, but she
Uh-huh.
knocked it out of the park really cool. She
Awesome.
worked the entire weekend, like morning till we were done at night. So she rocked it out.
And she's new to the game, right? That's really good.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, she was kind of concerned about rules questions, but she just pawned it off to someone else.
But
Way
the-
to delegate, Erica.
Remember the easiest thing about rules questions is just make a ruling that you believe in your heart, and you're in charge. If they wanted to pick it up, if they had actual physical proof otherwise, they wouldn't need you. You just make a decision and go with it, and then after the
Sounds
tournament they can talk to you
confident.
about it. Yeah,
Yep.
it's all good.
But let's see. After that, let's see. The old man tournament went really well. I actually asked a friend of mine because we had an odd number of people, and I was like, "Okay, would you mind playing in this? I'll give you the dice. I know you're not 40, but I would rather not have an odd person because I'm trying to help out and everything." And so it was no big deal. It was a good friend of mine from Little Rock, Hayne, and he joined in. Of course, I gave him dice for playing, and it was fun. But what I got more than anything was everybody else wanted to play in it because of all the different objectives. People were like, I want to play in something like this. I go, well, you got to be 40 or older. And they were like, that sucks.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Hey,
Well, then you
gotta
gotta
have
order,
some kind of bonus for making it past 40.
or you
Well-
need to convince one of the guys to make something similar for the young guys.
Guess who's going to be doing that? We're already in talks about doing like the middle-age madness.
Middle-aged madness. I like
yeah.
it. You got to make some of the objectives a little different for each one because
Yeah.
the middle-aged
They'll
guys
be
got to run
different.
around more for that than us old guys.
Well,
I
I
mean,
actually
it's not millennial madness.
no.
Millennial madness. I like that too.
We may do that too.
Well,
but- I mean,
middle-aged madness is
isn't
better.
40
It'll move
middle-aged?
with us.
Well, yeah, we could do that. Do the millennial madness and make it so they didn't have to be there. But one thing I was thinking about was like the old man tournament. One of the objectives is hire a millennial to play your game for one round, but he has to play your game, so they got to flip and flop. Maybe something like that. I was thinking that was one of the objectives, just to have it. But
So
I mean, everybody liked it.
Are chicks over 40 allowed to participate?
Hell yes, we had one.
You know,
Oh yeah.
the old man game.
No, it's not an old man game. We do drink a lot, though. I mean, we started at 11 o'clock and, finished off a whole huge bottle of
Wait,
alcohol.
you guys were at a convention and you were drinking a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I was to say,
lot.
the one time I was at War Machine Weekend, I drank more than I ever have in my life before.
Oh, that's what War Machine Weekend's known for, is for the alcohol.
And damn it, if Menoth John didn't leave me watching the Turkish Star Wars alone to go play in that role-playing game, that bastard. I never forget.
I feel like we need to compete for that title at Adepticon now.
The drinking or old
Yeah.
man?
The drinking.
Oh, see, here's the thing about War Machine Weekend. It starts before even the convention starts, and then we have a social hour now on the first day where we all drink some more. I think we had like 15 bottles of alcohol on the back table, and we were all trying like different levels of sortilege, bourbon. This guy brought homemade mead.
Oh, that's awesome.
Man, that was a social hour that I posted up at one point.
So, Cathy, the one time I went, Chili Winters rolled in at about 4 o'clock. Said hi. He was too drunk to go to dinner with John and I 2.5 hours later or so.
That's like every convention I've ever been to, though.
Oh,
It was impressive. I had a beer or two because Nathan Hoffman's like, here, how you doing? Sit down, play a game, and here's some beer. I'm like, this is great.
There was one year at Adepticon I didn't have plans to participate in any of the events, and I ended up going to, and this is when it was at the Westin Lombard, and they had this Harry Carey bar and grill there, and I would go there with people, and we would all sit and eat and drink and everything, and everybody would leave, and while I was leaving, I would run into some other people that I know, and go back. And sit and eat and drink. And when they were done, I would leave, and I would end up running into more people that I knew and go back in with them and sit and eat and drink. And that was like my entire weekend.
just think of that of War Machine Weekend, but no eating.
Oh, God,
I can't not eat.
That's pretty much how it is. Everybody brings like snacks and stuff just to make sure, but no, there's a crap ton of drinking. They have to actually put a sign on the War Machine Weekend Facebook page. Hey guys, yeah, you can drink, just don't like walk in with a keg, or keep everything
Because
brown
they
bagged.
would. Because
Just
they
don't be
would.
puking all over the hotel for crying out loud.
No,
Oh,
that's happened.
yeah.
Let's see what
Uh-huh.
else happened. Colossal Wrestling went off, which was a really
Yes.
big hit. Oh my God,
I approve of
Jeff
everything
Easterman.
involved with that. Oh, God, Jeff
Yes.
Easterman.
He was amazing. That day he was running the Youngblood tournament, but he dressed up as Macho Man Randy Savage and
I saw it was
stayed in
glorious.
character the entire day. The
Nice.
He didn't break character once, except for to answer a question because someone said, "Hey, can you break character for a second? Because I want to know where'd you got those glasses." And they go like, "Okay, I got them here," and then he was right back in it. So, and he also won the Explosive Award. So,
Jeff
cheers,
is
Jeff.
awesome.
Jeff is
Jeff.
an amazing human being.
Uh,
Um, but and that went off really well. We only had like 12 people that played in it, but as we
but that's
started,
about right for an event like that. I mean,
yeah, it wasn't bad. We needed but people came in and were like, "What is this?" I'm like, "This is Colossal Wrestling." And they were like, "Oh, y'all doing this again tomorrow?" No, I'm sorry, we're not doing it tomorrow. They're like, "Do you care if we like borrow the rules so we can play it over here?" I'm like, "No, go right ahead."
yeah, go right ahead.
So
Cool.
so that actually was a bigger hit than I thought it was going to be. Let's see. LCQ went good. Um, the main tournament really went really well. We actually tried something different this year, where the only people that could be at the table were the judges and the players. No like booze and no girlfriends sitting next to the table because there was a lot of people last year that were complaining that the tables were too crowded and
Yeah,
that people were sitting next to the tables could interfere incorrectly or accidentally.
yeah.
And so
Or accidentally on purpose.
exactly, there was that went on last year. And so we kept our way back about 6 feet. But I think what we're going to do next year, hopefully, we're still discussing it. We're still going to try to have it where there's not going to be a lot of people crowding the tables, but angle the tables so people can see it differently. So it's a little bit easier on everybody. But that went off really well. All the painting went off really well. Had some amazing painters. And you can see it on their Facebook page. They've got an album of all their stuff. I mean, there was a guy that took, what's the battle engine for Convergence?
The Transfinite Emergence Projector.
Yes, the TEP. He changed it and made the TEP into a roller skate.
Oh my God.
It was a roller skate, and it had a bow on it, and the little pods that came off were like ice cream cones and sundaes. It was amazing. I mean, it was a really cool conversion,
That sounds fun.
um, which was really neat. The guy that won it overall painted this incredible Borka bust. There was a lot of hobby stuff going on. Andy said that the hobby room was the largest he's ever seen it all year.
Awesome.
So that was good.
That's legit.
And of course Andy's always there, fixing models or doing whatever he needs to. And I love when I see that the hobby room goes really well. I didn't get to hear about, excuse me, I didn't get to hear about the RPG, so I don't know. The vendor room went really well. The VIP went really smooth. Took a little while because Privateer Press forgot to bring their money bags.
Oh,
Whoopsie.
So they didn't have money until the next day. So everybody
Well,
either had to have exact cash or use a credit card. But it went all right. Um, there was
Erica just sent me a picture of the TEP.
oh,
It
did you?
is, yeah, it's awesome.
Amazing.
I'm posting that on our page.
Yeah,
oh,
go
definitely. Because I want to see that.
Oh,
Yeah,
Now,
that thing's
were
amazing.
there a lot of armies, or what do you call them? Crews, gangs. I see. I don't
armies.
play War Machine, so Um, so were there a lot of themed ones like that?
Not really. Privateer Press has a really strict order on their conversion policy, and it's really, really strict. Very little gets away. Most people, And the reason why it's like that is for the simple fact that it is, if they stream or whatever,
Oh
I mean,
yeah,
most
yeah,
people wouldn't have cared any
yeah,
other way.
yeah.
Yeah, between streaming and between the tournament focus of the game, it's really important to not have questions arise like that in the middle of a game.
Correct.
Well,
But
I
for the
could
most
see it
part,
being like a what you see is what you get, and all of a sudden
Yeah,
you don't know what their thing is.
yeah,
yeah, WYSIWYG's important for a game like this. Yeah, with a high gotcha factor.
yeah. But I
Yeah.
mean, like I said, his shoe thing, that would have been no problem whatsoever. It would have been,
Yeah, because they
most
used
people
all
wouldn't
the
have
whole
cared.
model. It's super awesome.
Yeah. Let's see, what else? Everything seemed to run pretty smooth. A lot of people said it was their best one yet, because everything was really smooth, even with the low amount of volunteers we had. But next year is the 15th anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
I am.
so ready for that.
So are they
Uh,
looking for more volunteers?
Always. We're always
Okay.
looking for volunteers.
All right.
And usually volunteers, you get a little something now. I'm not sure what's going to happen last year or next year. This year we got all the volunteers, or I'm not sure how he decided who got this, but we got the lock and load Corby, and the mercenary mechanic
oh yeah, Colby. Yeah.
Colby, not Corby, Colby. The lock and load version of her. It's an alt sculpt,
Cool.
and the Company of Iron special card.
Oh
So
yeah. The scrappy
yeah,
thing.
and so we
Scrappy
got that.
scraps.
I
Scrappy.
feel like I'm gonna have to learn this game, just so I can speak your lingo.
I think what you should probably do is play Company of Iron, which is a good segue into jumping into Company of. Actually,
See,
hold
now
on.
I just need
No,
to
wait.
find some people to play that. I know they're gonna have it at Adepticon,
Oh yeah.
so yeah.
Adepticon is still a 40K show first and foremost, and it is the 40K show first and foremost.
Yes.
It,
But
it
they,
is,
they
but I can tell you about some of the other tournaments that you can expect to find there too from
Yeah,
all the different companies.
they do a great job of getting everyone involved in that. I've been impressed since their inception of them being willing to add any other game in there. Hats off to those guys. I remember when
Yeah,
they just started, and
they've
they've
well
done a
they
great
just
job.
they were a bunch of 40K geeks that wanted to have their own tournament, and that was the genesis of it. They're like nobody has a convention, so why don't we start one?
Yeah,
And
Games
then
Day had sort of dropped off the map, unfortunately.
it just kind of grew and expanded, and now you've got Guild Ball, you've got Infinity, you've got
Mhm.
War Machine and Hordes, and now
Malifaux.
you've got Malifaux. Um, you've got a Blood Bowl tournament that was there long before they reintroduced that Games Workshop reintroduced Blood Bowl. You've got Bolt Action and other Warlord games now. Mantic has their tournaments there for like Kings of War and stuff like that. So
We got Wrath of
it's
Kings and something else.
huge. Yeah, there's a bunch of cool mini or not kind of games, and
Well, I know this year was my first year to go, and it was something I had planned on going, and then life happened, and then everybody's like, "No, you're still going," and so I went, and I am so glad I went. One, now I like they had like Star Wars, the X-wing games, and all that stuff and everything. I went there primarily for the War Machine Hordes, but in between like rounds or whenever I wasn't doing tournament, I went to everybody else's stuff. Like I went to the Infinity tournament to watch there,
Mhm.
went through the 40K, went through the Age of Sigmar, everything, just so I could watch and of course hit the vendors. And then I hit was it the Saturday night or whatever, Friday night, where they let people sell their own stuff, the garage
oh
sale.
the Bit
Oh.
Bash, and that's Friday and Saturday night.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
I'll
that's
tell you,
cool.
I went there and I will go back just for that because I had a guy that held up a bag of Kador stuff and shook it at me, and he goes $5. And I peeked in, looked at it, says deal, picked it up, and walked away.
Uh-huh.
So for $5, I got a Butcher One, a full new plastic unit of Man of War Shock Troop, unit of Iron Fang Pikeman metal with UA, another Sorsha One, I mean, I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, I'll take this. So for $5, I got like
A ton
almost,
of stuff.
like $90 worth of models.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That happened, I think the first year that Jim and I went, which was like '05 or something like that, '07. It was a while ago. And they had that, and we picked up a ton of stuff because there were just people who are just getting rid of the stuff they don't use anymore.
Hmm.
I felt bad because there was this one lady there last year. She was selling all of her husband's stuff. I guess he had passed away.
Oh.
And so she was selling all of his War Machine stuff to pay bills. And they were like, she picked up a whole, tray of, foam tray of Space Marines that had like a Terminator squad and, Captain, and it was all this stuff. And she's like $10. I'm
Ooh.
like, lady, you need to charge a whole lot more
Yeah,
for
yeah.
that. But it was something, dude. I won't go to Gen Con. I'll go to Adepticon now, just for this.
Yeah. Well, and it's focused on tabletop war games. I mean, they do have a board game library, so if you want to play board games, you can, check out one of the board games and play in that dedicated area.
Hmm.
And they have the hobby seminars and all that stuff,
Yeah, a lot
for
of seminars.
miniature painting, and of course Fort Wapple if you just want to hang out and paint miniatures all weekend. But it's it's first and foremost it's tabletop wargaming convention,
Yep.
so that's what's in the dealer's room, is miniatures.
Yeah, and it was actually, like I says, the dealers and all that was really good. There wasn't a lot of high pressure sales type stuff. There was a lot of conversation, and there were some people I was like, yeah, your game is like no. I was like, I'm gonna go to
There's
another one.
that, then there's like, oh my god, this game that I've never heard of before is amazing, like Arena Rex. Although
Oh,
their models are so delicate, but their game is fun.
their game is amazing. Their biggest problem with the whole thing is one, their models are so delicate and
They're
everything.
so pretty though, aren't they?
Oh, they're amazing. I have all three of the sisters, and I want
Hmm.
them painted up so bad. I actually need to sell my Arena Rex just so I can have some extra cash. But I
Yeah.
mean, that game's amazingly fun. If you haven't played it, you should.
Yes,
So, what
definitely
else is going
try
to
it out.
happen? I already got my hotel room booked for Adepticon, and I'm already on the way. Kathy, you got anything you want to tell us about Adepticon?
Um,
Since you're into it more than us,
so,
because it sounds like you're part of the board or
so,
committee.
so their registration is going live next Friday. Friday the 17th at 8 p.m. You want to register for any of these fantastic tournaments that we were just talking about from all these different companies. That's when you want to get to it, because they do tend to be booked up really fast.
Hmm.
Especially anything that's the GW stuff fills up very fast.
Yes.
And the dates for it are March 22nd to 25th in 2018. So, next Friday, 8 o'clock, be there.
I actually have it on my calendar to go and get my tickets.
I
Buy
can't plan
Adepticon
that
tickets.
far ahead. Oh my god. I don't know.
It's less than a week, John.
No, I meant
No,
planning
the
to see if
tournament.
I can actually go
Oh,
to
like
March.
with work and stuff? That sucks.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of work, a lot of funds. Got to make sure funds are good, and that's
Oh, that, yeah.
always the biggest problem.
Yeah, I always made sure to. That was the one convention that I actually took days off of work to go to. Because that one, I mean, events actually start on Wednesday night at that one. I mean, technically it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but really events start on Wednesday night.
Yeah, I think I should probably start small and actually go to the one in my backyard, basically down in Virginia, Nova Open. I should probably start with that, but I'm terrible.
Yeah, because I
Nothing to
actually
say about Nova.
definitely, I'm definitely gonna hit Adepticon. I mean, like I said, I got my hotel room ready to go. Um, it'll be one of my cons that I don't have to do anything but play games. So
Hmm.
I'm super excited
Yes.
about it. So other than that, um, what else? You got anything else you
Well,
want to tell us about Adepticon?
not now. I mean, I'm sure I'll have more in later episodes because, next month there's another meeting. So stay tuned.
Rock and roll. All right, so let's go ahead. Cathy, you want to go ahead and get your camera set up so you can we can see what you're working on, and that way we can ask you questions while you're working and
All
get that
right.
going. And while you're doing that, we're gonna go talk about Company of Iron.
Company of
I
Iron.
I actually got a few games into that, and
What?
that game is actually pretty legit.
It looks it.
Um,
I
it
haven't bought it yet. Like I said in the pre-ramble, they didn't have any at the store, so I spent the available funds on 40K instead. And but still looking at it, it looks super cool.
it was actually really good. Like I said, you really don't want to do a tournament with this. You really want to just do it as a good, fun game. You could play it in 30 minutes, no problem. Once you learn the rules, and the rules are pretty simple for the most part. It's standard War Machine rules, but instead of a model dying, you roll a d6. On a 1 to 2, it's out of the game. On a 3-4, it's bleeding, and on a 5-6, it's just knocked down. So I mean, it's pretty easy and legit there. Um, I'm gonna actually go to a different cam so we can try to get more. John, I'm gonna make you a little bit smaller and such, but I'm gonna put Cathy in there a little bit bigger. Oop, wrong thing.
I don't know if this is
Uh,
working or not. Trying to make it dramatic.
yeah, we're gonna try to
I,
get where Cathy has a lot more area.
I'm not sure how interesting me cutting
Oh,
plastic off of sprues and gluing it together will be, but
We're gonna try
I'll
to
be
do it.
doing that.
well, we got to try
Maybe
and
you
work on
can.
it anyways to show more.
All right, hold on a second. We're gonna get rid of some of this stuff. Boom.
Do I just scoot this way? Scoot that way?
Scoot
I'll
that
wait
way.
till you're done. I'll wait till you're done, then I'll scoot.
And then I'll just move it again. You know me. I
Yeah.
cares not.
Fair.
Tell us when you're ready, Cathy. That way you can also tell us what's on the sprue too.
Yeah.
All right.
That
I'm
way we can see it.
adjusting my focus here a little. Whoop. Whoop. How does that look, guys?
It's a little fuzzy. Maybe
Better? Worse?
No, worse. There we go. There we go.
All right.
Wrong. Go back a little bit.
There.
Nope, that's worse. Look at your camera while you're doing it.
I'm doing I took it off of autofocus, so I'm actually focusing, that better.
There, right there. Don't move it.
All right.
Yeah.
So it was like it's a slide bar,
Yes.
and I'm trying to stop it. So now I'm like, let's see, my brightness, could it go darker? Do you like more
No, it looks good.
contrast?
No, that looks good. Yeah, and those guys are big. I remember what you're saying about them being Space Marine size. They really are.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Are they going 25s or do they have 32s?
So they have the 30 32 millimeter base, and they come with all these like Mechanicum kind of. Let's see, the bag says Necromunda Zone Mortalis bases.
Oh, cool.
So they're 15 by 25 millimeter. No, there's 15 25 millimeter bases, 10 32 millimeter bases. So these are the 32, of course. They have. Let me see if I can. Can you see the design on this?
Yeah, absolutely. It's good on the. It's good on the Twitch.
There's So you get 10 of these, and there's 5 different designs in all. It looks like those are going to be fun to paint. I can see all kinds of cool tech colors and stuff. Although I feel like it is more like the tech Mechanicum kind of bases rather than something seedy from the Underhive.
Well, remember, it's all a big, under parts of a hive city is still, part of a giant city that's built upwards and upwards and upwards over millennia.
That's true.
So it does kind of fit.
So yeah, there's so both of the sprues are the same sprue, but you've got different options. So
Yeah.
you'll have like two of the same body, but then you put a different gun on it and stuff.
Like,
So much better than the old single medals and the
Oh
the,
my god,
the
yes.
special
But
games intermediate ones where they had metal bodies with alternate weapons. Way better than that even too, which is cool.
It is super fiddly though, like Malifaux fiddly.
That's
Like
okay.
I sent the guys a picture of one of the faces. I'm looking at the expression on the face. And the camera won't pick it up. It's too tiny. Well, I'll hold it up. I don't think you can see it.
You never know.
No, it's just going to be... Anyways, I look at the face and I'm like, that guy looks like he needs to be smoking a cigar. I should green stuff like a cigar in.
Mm-hmm.
And I look down like a quarter of an inch to the left of him. And there's a tiny little thing. And I realize that's the cigar that's supposed to be in his face. So good job, Games Workshop.
Can you put it on your and point it out, but put it down on the table and point it out to us.
All right, let me find it again. Okay. So it's... There's the guy's face,
Uh-huh.
and there's this tiny little cigar.
So how many guys does it come with?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 10. Well, 10 guys. There's 10 bases, so 10 guys.
Okay.
But like I said, 2 of the same body for each pose.
Now, I guess you got one half of the box and someone else got the other half of the box?
Yeah, my buddy Dave is putting together the Escher, and
Yeah,
so I mean he used to play old school Necromunda back in the day, so he was very excited.
yeah, Necromunda's one of my favorites. I ran a very long league for mostly Games Workshop employees back in the day at the Glen Burnie Battle Bunker, the HQ way back. It was super cool. We did lots of weekly. We'd play games during the week. Then on Fridays, I would post a new newsletter and have a cool scenario that I would run for everyone for that day. It was really awesome.
Cool.
Got a question for you. Did they let you have the rules?
No.
Damn it!
Sorry,
I was able to fondle the rules briefly, but I did not get to take them home with me, so I cannot answer any rules questions. Sorry, John.
Yeah, I didn't get in early enough to the store after work on Saturday to take a look at the rules. Not Brushhead Dave had them in his hands already, so.
Yeah, because there's actually some questions about the rules that some people are kind of upset with about it, but they're not sure because I haven't seen the full rules yet.
Well, because remember, there's 2 rule books too. There's the basic rule book, which is 2D play, and then there's Gang War, which has the experience campaign system and 3D rules for 3D play.
Yes.
So it looks like they're making it like one of their box games, like Overkill or one of those games, and then adding on a supplement to make it more like old Necromunda, which is what I hope. I was a little worried myself.
I mean, Necromunda was my favorite GW game of all time because I liked it because you had a small amount of guys, and then you had this game combat that things happened from game to game.
Mm-hmm.
My guy got hurt, so he didn't die. He lived, but now he's crazy, so he berserks and goes chasing after everybody. I was like, that's amazing, stuff like that. And
He got a leg wound, and now he's a little slower, so
yes,
get him that long-range weapon, yeah.
Yeah, and I loved that. That was more, I loved that aspect of the game. But somebody was saying that they're kind of worried that it's going to be a short-range combat, that there's not going to be any long-range combat, which could be. I don't know. I haven't seen the rules.
I don't know. I mean, there's guys with bolters.
Yeah.
It's not like they have las cannons, but, who in the Underhive is going to have a las cannon anyways?
You'd never buy a las cannon because of the Emerald back in the day.
Well, you would also. What about the one guys? What were the people that were like super rich teenagers, and you had
Van
no, you think
something?
Spryers.
Spryers.
Oh, Spryers?
Yeah, the Spires. Yeah, it was like super rich teenagers that had like the most advanced technology, but you only brought like 3 of them because they were
Yeah.
so powerful.
Yeah, not
Mm-hmm.
Prussia. Dave played them for a bit. Then they had some. They were great in single games. But when I ran the like multiplayer games, he got the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah, because you didn't have anything to back them up with.
No, but it was funny. It's still funny.
See, I played the Redemptionists, and I gave those away recently to someone because they have been wanting them and stuff. And I liked Redemptionists because they were just crazy religious zealots that had miniature
Uh-huh.
flamethrowers.
Well,
Wait,
flamethrowers are awesome.
Condor's not nearly religious enough for you? Well, let us show you the Redemptionists. They're like religious to the next level.
So, but all right. Well, Kathy's cutting this out. Kathy, every once in a while, tell us what you're cutting out so we can see it. But I want to go back to the Company of Iron review.
Yes, yes.
Because this game is actually really solid. Privateer Press, really, if I want to teach anybody how to play the game of War Machine, I'm going to show them Company of Iron first.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to play larger regimental stuff, yes, I'll show them, the typical style of War Machine and Hordes. But Company of Iron was amazing to play. The scenarios were really good. And you roll off for scenarios, you roll off deployment. And they really thought about, I mean, there's some stuff that they're still working out on how to do. Like, if you have ambush or advanced deploy on a model,
Mm-hmm.
not the entire unit doesn't get it. Only like one model out of it gets it. Then advanced deploy, only one model gets it. You play alternating models. So if you have a unit of 5, I move a model, do what I want with that model. You move a model, you do what you want, and go back and forth. The game does kind of punish you for taking super powerful stuff. Like I made a Kador list that was the Man-O-War Kovnik, the Min unit of Man-O-Wars, and 1 unit of Kiazi Eliminators, and I was down to 1 card draw every turn.
Yeah.
And I mean, those cards, you live and die by those cards. 100%. Because you have you have the cards, and they have a top part and a bottom part. Top part is the command card, and you can only use that once around. You only play abilities from that side once around, unless you have an ability that lets you do different. And then you got the bottom part, and those, you can play as many of those as you have. So in one turn, you could play all 4 of your cards as long as you use the bottom stuff. And it's like boost an attack roll, boost a damage roll, boost an attack roll, boost a damage roll, stuff like that. Scenarios are really cool. One of them, Erica played one where it was the guys that deployed on the outside had to kill all the guys on the inside. So if one person was alive on Erica's team, she won. So she cleaned an area off and then ran.
That's what you do.
Yeah, I mean, it was simple and easy. One of them I played was just a simple kill scenario. Just be last man standing type thing. There's like grab objectives and stuff. Be the person with the most control points at the end of round 5, and you win. And playing on a 30 by 30 board, things that have a speed 7, get there and get done.
So that was the only thing I heard that I had a little bit of issue with. Why would they make it 30 by 30 when there are already 3 foot by 3 foot mats out there in abundance for other games?
Yeah. The reason why is because a standard card table is 30 by 30.
Okay. That is fair.
I do enjoy and I do love that it has a lot of terrain.
Mm-hmm.
And it says you need this many line of sight blocking terrains, this many obstructions, this many walls. So it's like 10 pieces of terrain in a 30 by 30.
Wow, that's a lot of terrain for a game that small. I mean, it's not like bad because honestly, having played Malifaux a lot, which is similar, actually even less model count, you tend to play with a bunch of terrain.
I like the terrain. I think it makes a game more interesting.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's opened up a lot more 3D terrain stuff too.
Yeah, I think the
Yeah.
only issue is that people. I mean, that's always when you go to a game store. That's the biggest problem. Do they have enough terrain for all the tables?
Well, you
And
got to bring
having
your own, I guess.
Sure, but not everyone could do that. So
That's
it's one
true.
of those things I look at. Like you made a
Mhm.
game at smaller scale with higher terrain density. It's like interesting. It's just something I think about. It's
Yeah,
not like
but I mean,
bad
War Machine
necessarily.
terrain
Yeah.
doesn't have to be big. I mean, a wall, is a few inches. You could do a forest that's like 3 inches. Stuff like that. So it doesn't have to be huge terrain.
Plus, with the skirmish, the actual skirmish mechanics of it, you can bring all those terrain pieces you wouldn't dare put on a 40K on a standard board. You can put on now on a standard War Machine board. You can bring all that crazy stuff.
But I mean, sorry, it was really good. I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. You can get the rules for free. You got to buy the cards, the deck of cards, so you can use those.
Was it
If
like
you have the models,
how much is the cards on War Room?
if you
20
buy
bucks, $10, something like that.
like $9 to buy all the
Nice.
Company of Iron. So I mean,
Yeah, 'cause
on the
I've
forum.
got a new model.
But the John, you're breaking up.
So I didn't want to say $10. Am I?
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
you're good. You're solid now.
Okay.
Must be your Switch thing again. But the cards I'm talking about is the deck of cards that you play with. And you have to
Okay.
buy that deck of cards. And I bought it at War Machine Weekend for $15,
okay.
and I got the rules for it for free in printed form.
No, that's
Yeah,
Don't they sell them online too on the PP website?
I think so. I think you can actually PDF them and print them or whatever. I'm not sure.
Let's find out, shall we?
So I highly recommend it if you want a good fun game. This is a game that you can play with like your kids too. If you have any younger kids that can't play War Machine because of the complexity of it, this would be a perfect one. Erica's all in on this, which is I think is funny because she at the end of it she was like, "This is fun. I could do this every weekend or a few times a week,"
Cool.
which is good because War Machine needed that. Privateer Press needed a game that some people can play that was miniature based, but still kept the feel and what they need. Hey, Cathy, you can put your hands down a little bit so we can see what you're doing. What are you working on?
I am working on Bone Snapper. Just this dude with the mohawk who has a bolt gun.
Oh, okay.
Vulcan's prestigious weapon back for those guys.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the Company of Iron rules and card deck is on the PP website for $15 if you want it.
Yep.
Which is super cool.
Yeah, super cheap. You use your own models. There's no warcasters, no warlocks, no heavy jacks, and no large or colossals. So it's just like solos, and small base, medium and small base stuff. So it's worth it. I highly recommend it. Give it plenty of thumbs up, no problem. So with that said, let's do our Ask Cathy question. So if you're in the chat channel and you want to ask Cathy a question, please type it in there, and we will ask her, because I have our first question, which was from on our Patreon page, and that was from our good friend. Ooh, come on, load up quicker.
Was it Congo?
Yeah, it was actually Congo. Congo wants to know if you're a Signaran spy.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, no. I mean,
so we have to kill her.
I don't know. No, honestly, I have not played War Machine, so I am looking forward to learning more about this game. I have played Blood Bowl was my gateway game into miniature wargaming, and
Mine too.
led to 40K and then fantasy. I have not yet played War Machine Hordes, although I love Trollkin, Trollbloods.
Oh. That's the gateway there.
There you go. Well, while we're talking about the Trollbloods, Cathy, whenever we get the model to her, the model she'll be painting up this month is the Pig Barrel Rider exclusive model at War Machine Weekend to give away on the podcast.
Yeah, that one looks like fun.
Super legit.
So that's the model we'll be giving away at the end of the month for our 15 plus guys. Which, talking about that, the person that did win the Gorman was Aaron Stone, by the way.
Yeah.
Yay, Aaron!
won the Gorman painted by Seth. Seth's last model for us. So next month will be the Pig Barrel Rider, or this month I should say.
November.
Yep. So if you want to be part of it, make sure you go ahead and give us your $15 level. I want one painted. I have to get something painted by you, Cathy, but I just got to figure out what I want to give you and pay you for it. I'm broke. All right, our next question: Empire or Rebel?
Rebel.
Yeah.
Scum.
What can I say? No.
And I have no clue what this one is. Guild or Criminal?
Guild or criminal?
Is that a Malifaux thing?
I guess it could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it is, I'll go with Malifaux.
I mean, if it's Lady Justice,
I want to paint her so bad. I want that box set.
You know, I painted it so a friend of mine was lending me his crew, and it was Lady J and a bunch of marshals, and so I painted his while I had them in my possession. I painted her, so
Sweet.
for him. I didn't tell him. I was like, I'm sorry, it fell into some paint.
In all the right ways.
In all the perfect ways. Which, if I were going to get into it, I'd do Lady J and the Marshals just because those models are cool looking.
I have some marshals in a box sitting up there, but when second edition came out, I picked up a box of hired swords because that looked like fun, and I haven't had a chance to play. I assembled them, I primed them, and then I got a job that sucked up all my time, much like you, John.
Yeah.
But now I'm back to painting miniatures for a living, so I have way more time for that now. I just need to find some gamers that are local to me that will play with me.
The Vickies are full of fun shenanigans.
Yeah.
I mean,
They will.
if I were to ever play Malifaux, it would be Lady J and the Marshals because I just love the models. Them standing on the coffins and stuff like that.
I don't feel like I could limit myself to just one crew because I really like the Neverborn. I always have. So I feel like I would have to try out some of that stuff.
I probably would, but I mean, limiting on buying stuff, I would have to definitely just limit myself going, I would play just these guys because it would.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just like the way they look, which also, talking about that, John, are you going to do a review of the app?
Review of the app? Yeah, I can do a review of the app. I had a little bit at work. I bought the cards before I left home because I knew I'd have time at work. Because while I have to be at work a long time from now on, it'll be 11 days in a row. It's going to be not as horrific as this last week. It'll be a lot of normal days with lots of periods of downtime for me to look at stuff.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. So you're going to include
doubt.
that probably on their minis and movies? I think John just crashed.
No, I can do it right now. No, I'm still here.
Oh, your video was like you were standing there, your mouth was wide open, just waiting in there.
Yeah,
He's here in spirit.
I can't tell what it is because I pulled it out of I'm not using my USB hub anymore. It's plugged directly into my computer. So it's got to be something else. Maybe I'll check see what the Rumi was doing while we're casting. Maybe she's doing crazy.
Streaming Netflix.
Oh, I'm sure she is, or YouTube videos, but it shouldn't affect us like that. It's weird. They're supposed to have fixed that problem.
Well, do you want to do it on mini movies or do you want to do it on here?
I'll do it here. I'll do it real quick here now.
Right.
It is a good, solid app. It does not show the cards as they look to you normally, which is a little weird. You actually have to click on things to show the individual abilities, which I'm not as big of a fan of as, say, War Room, where I don't want to read this text. I just want to click, see the card, go to the part.
Mm-hmm.
But $10 for all the cards is amazing.
That was pretty funny.
It's a little for other stuff. Go ahead.
You said amazing, and it was amazing.
I think
Oh,
John was
somebody,
replaced by a robot.
I was not, but yeah, it's pretty good. It looks a little clunky, maybe a little counterintuitive, but perfectly functional, very solid, and great price. And honestly, with the hard part out of the way, it'll only get better. So
Yeah,
if you're
I'm
playing
sure
Malifaux, I
yeah.
recommend it.
They'll fix all those bugs and stuff.
Can you use it like tournament?
No, absolutely, yeah. It's actually when you start doing scenarios, it starts with gaining grounds, which is the Malifaux version of Steamroller.
Gotcha.
And you can change it around how you want to do it. Even it's like do you want to break the normal rules for making whatever. It's very solid, but like I said, a little clunky for the interface.
Gotcha.
But I think that just will change as you get used to using it. I give it 2 thumbs up. Get it if you're interested in Malifaux. A lot of guys already have started being like, there's my cards all in the trash can now. I'm not going to go that far because I know how battery power goes, but it is a good supplement for it and lets you. I could be at work now and just go through and like, what does this guy do? Oh, that's what he does. Okay, cool.
Nice.
That's good.
Yeah, it seems like that would be a supplement that I would use in addition to cards, especially at a tournament.
Well, yeah, I might not bring all the upgrade cards because they're all in there, so I don't necessarily need to have those all like in triplicate or whatever for the guys. But like I said, definitely legit. Pick it up.
Cathy, it looks like you're working on things, and you're filing off. I'm guessing nubs and getting everything ready.
Yeah, it's super exciting.
Are you a painter that piecemeals it, or do you paint the whole model together at one?
It depends on how it looks like it's going to go together. Like, if there's a lot of things that are going to go across other things, I will sometimes leave parts off and paint them separately. Like, I always, when I was doing Space Marines, would leave the backpack off and paint it separately from the guy, and then I would make sure that I had just plastic to plastic when I'm, gluing them together after everything's done. And also I always had, how the ones have the bolt gun that's across the chest and he's holding it in both his hands. And I would leave that arm off when I painted it so that I could paint the chest as well. And then, and I'm doing like hand motions here that I know no one can see.
I know.
But yeah, so I will paint some in pieces. Although these guys, at least the one I'm working on right now, looks like he has a pretty open stance. Nothing's going to be going across anything else. So I should be able to just glue him together and go. And even just glue him onto his base and, paint him as is. And I should be able to reach everything, which is cool. But his head is so tiny compared to the rest of his body. His face is so tiny. It's amusing.
So, what do you or you airbrush or a paint with paintbrush primer?
I like to use Badger Airbrush's Stynel Res primers. They come in a variety of colors.
Well, I mean,
Well played.
So I have right next to me, I have a rust color that I love to use. I use that on my Guild Ball stuff. They don't make it anymore, of course, because it's my favorite one. Instead of rust, they now have a dark brown, which is also actually a really cool color. White, obviously, and black and gray. They have this green color. I love the yellow, so naturally they discontinued that one too. But I have several tiny bottles because when Badger has a booth at a convention, they have a box of free samples. So you can stop by and pick a color and try it out. And obviously,
white bottle of that.
You shoot it through the airbrush, but I like to just brush it on. And that's what I did with all my Guild Ball stuff. I have something I was working on here, you can see the color. I just brushed this on. This is an angel from a nativity scene that I'm kind of working on. I don't know how that comes across,
You can see it.
but it started out as just that rust-colored primer that I brushed on.
Well,
And
I
then
mean, I've noticed
Sweet.
that's a lot of people are going away from cans to the airbrush or the paint-on primers.
there's still a lot of people that are that use the rattle cans, which is fine. I mean,
Yeah.
if you got some Reaper bones and you wanna shoot the Krylon or the Rust-Oleum over those, I mean that's fine. I had a guy who I was painting his Blood Bowl team, and he handed me the can of his favorite primer to use for them. He's like, "Here, use this primer." Okay, it was just this Krylon primer that adheres to plastic really well.
I was just kind of curious because, like I said, I've noticed some people are starting to use the airbrush primers a lot now, or the paint-on primers, which I
Yeah.
thought was interesting.
Well, I'll tell you,
Uh,
Jim loves running that stuff through the airbrush, and he'll do like a black, and then he'll dust over it with what lately they're calling zenithal priming, which
Yep.
is you're directing it from the top down with a gray and then a white over that just to pick out all the details. And now you have your values established. For the most part, you have darks, you have lights, you have medium tones, and then you can go in with your colors over that.
And there's your first free lesson from Cathy.
Zenithal priming.
Which have you decided what you're going to do for your first video?
You know what? I'm going to make bases. I'm starting from the ground up,
Okay.
as I'm calling it, and we're just going to make some gaming bases, the old-fashioned way, like my pappy used to say.
Awesome.
So we're going to use cork, we're going to use Sculpey, we're going to use sand and gravel, and I'll just show you how I put that stuff together to make some fun bases. Of course, let's see, do I have any? I have a few that are, I have a couple that are painted. I have one that's not painted. So this is on a square base. This is the base. I used cork and Sculpey and a piece of actual wood.
Oh, actual
And-
wood.
Actual wood. And obviously this is a 25 millimeter round. And again, that's cork, Sculpey, sand, gravel, piece of wood. This is one. This is a 40 millimeter, and there's a little sheet of cork. What we like about cork is it kind of gives a texture of rocks. And then we throw some sand and gravel. We just glue that around the edges. This top part is a piece of Sculpey, and the design in it. And I don't know if you can you
Yes,
catch the design.
Oh, yeah, well, you can see it, yeah, absolutely.
That's a Green Stuff World. I don't know if anybody's heard of them. They make some great products for basing, and they have these texture rollers.
Oh, yeah.
There are the clear acrylic rollers that have designs inlaid into them, and when you roll them out on a sheet of Sculpey, you get these designs, and then you just put that sheet of Sculpey, on a ceramic tile or a baking sheet and put it in the oven, and bam, you can see how this one's kind of broken apart. The edges are rough, and we just like to break them apart and glue pieces onto the base like that. So we don't really use green stuff. We use Sculpey or Super Sculpey, or this is Firm Sculpey, which they all have different properties.
I've seen those rollers before, and I've also seen the little mats. Because I have a friend of mine that does the green stuff on his base.
Happy Seppuku rubber molds.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Love
and
those.
he likes to stamps those on his. I haven't tried any of that yet, though.
I actually have some bases. These are some I made for my my guild ball. See the texture on those?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that's their the Happy Seppuku flagstone mold. And what I did was I took a disc of green stuff and put it on the base, and then I wetted. Yeah, I put some water on the mold, and I just pressed it down into it. And then I took a little dental tool and just to clean up some of the parts of the texture that didn't quite take. But yeah, really easy way to make a nice textured base.
Yeah, you can even use green stuff to make a mold of something and reproduce that on, like, if you want, like, little scatter bits and stuff.
Oh, like little stamp kind of things?
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't tried those, but yeah, that's always been a cool idea.
Yeah.
Someone said happy seppuku.
Yeah, that's the name of the company.
Happy Seppuku. Exactly.
Yes, there you go, Fat Corby.
Look them up online. They make some great stuff.
So your first video is going to be bases.
Yep.
That's actually pretty cool.
And all of that's one of the things that I have always liked about making the models was making the bases. Here's a very rudimentary model that I did for like a 15-minute speed paint competition.
Oh, that was something they added at War Machine Weekend. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
But you can see that's fine. You can see the cork on the base. Like, it's not painted or anything. There's no sand and gravel. It's just this really coarse kind of cork that they use for like display boards. And I mean, there's so many different things you can use for basing. We have boxes of just garbage that we've picked up. They're really found art.
Honestly, if you get a meat grinder and old plastic sprues, you can literally just grind them up into great little techie bits for more of a futuristic thing. You just need to make sure you...
We've used sprues for futuristic bases, yeah, for sure. I haven't actually
just got to go back and...
up, but...
Yeah, you can just chop them up with your clippers if you want to, but the meat grinder's easier. You just have to make sure you shave off the... GW likes to put Games Workshop and copyrights and numbers on them. You just got to shave those off where it looks a little weird when it's on the final.
Oh, definitely.
Going back, about the speed painting. That was something when they added to War Machine Weekend this last time, was a speed painting competition, which went over really, really well. So I think we're gonna have that again this year.
Speed painting is fun.
Yeah, it's super legit.
Yeah.
So with that, we are actually into our media section, which is really good. I don't mind. Oh,
there was one thing you wanted to bring up during the cast that you've forgotten to get to.
What did I forget to?
You forgot to talk about the GW paint holder thing that you wanted to talk about.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Because we did do that. I personally have not used the GW paint model holder to paint models, which I've been looking for something like that. So who has used it?
I haven't used it, but I've seen it. It is pretty legit. I didn't get it because friend of the show, Madness Minis, Chris Wells, makes... this is just part of it. This is just a wooden dowel with blue tack that I put on there. So I stick the model to the top so I can hold this instead of put my hands over the model and paint however I want. And he makes holders for 10 of them. But that thing's really reusable and has a much better variety of models it can hold. If you're painting a single model at a time, it is all you would need.
So I have this is my secret. This is a bottle cap, and this model is blue tack to it. I also have dowels that I have cut to this length, and I pin models to that because I pin models to all my decorative bases anyways, so they're going to be, so easy to hold. I mean, it's not as ergonomic as the GW one, where it doesn't like fill your hand up like something like this, where there's a jar where he's blue tacked to that, so that's bigger. So you don't need to necessarily, go out and buy a special thing. You've probably got things around the house that you can attach models to.
But I mean, it requires less extra accoutrement.
I mean, Fat Corby's talking about it.
Tack. Yeah.
And he says it beats out of the poster tack on a paint pot or whatever. But to me, it looks really big. Corby, how big is that in your hand? I mean, because it looks really wide when I look at it and I see it online. And I've never seen one in a store, so I haven't been able to pick it up. but I'm curious to see how big it is because I mean I actually have big hands, but I'm just kind of curious at how big it is. What are you giggling for?
I was going to show this off while we're waiting.
I'm just tittering a bit.
So
Nice.
this is the one
yes.
that Madness Mini's made for me.
Is that in burned wood?
It's
Or is that
just,
pink foam?
just regular wood. It's wood.
I mean, your holder. I love it.
Yeah, it's just that. The wood, it's wood also. He made it out of wood.
on.
He made another one. I have another one downstairs that has 15, and it's these are 30 millimeters rather than 25 because it's a little better
like
for holding
it.
bigger bottles.
Your hand won't
it's
cramp
great.
up. Yeah.
Yeah. Super cool. Also, it's good to transport them too. I can get these around, just put them in a box. They move around a little bit, but not too much. So it's pretty legit.
Hold on a second, guys. Corby says that thing's about like 1 3/4 inches wide and about 2 7/8 inches tall. Which, if you look at it on their website or the things I've seen, it looks much bigger than that.
Yeah, it's not that big. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He wouldn't buy 10 of them, but yeah, if you're painting a single model, it's great. I've seen it. It's a good size for you, I would say, definitely. And like I said, if you're painting a single model at a time, it's great. It's just,
I heard on Facebook, I heard somebody say that it was top heavy, so he drilled out the top and filled it with sand.
Okay, that's actually a really good idea.
If you find that yours is top heavy, you may try that fix.
All right, we got about 10 or 13 minutes. Let's go and go to the media section.
Media section.
Media.
Come on. All right. I'm going to have to fix the camera a bit because everybody's got different things that they're doing now. Cathy, can you switch over to your other camera so we can see your face while we do this?
Yeah.
John, put your arms down.
No way.
Arms down.
I'm raising the roof. Raising the roof.
We'll get this all sorted out.
The roof is on fire.
We're going to talk about a certain movie. No spoilers.
No spoilers.
Thank goodness, because I have not seen it.
Oh my God.
So, Cathy, if you haven't seen it, do you have a movie you want to talk about before we get started on the movie that we want to talk about?
Well, I did see for the first time Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Which was just freaking hilarious. I loved it.
Yeah, it was great.
That was our Halloween viewing because we always have to leave the city for Halloween because we hate kids. No, we don't hate kids, but I really don't like giving out candy to people who knock on my door in Chicago. So
Can't just turn
so we go
around here. That means don't go around.
We go out to the suburbs and watch movies with our friends while they answer the door and give kids candy.
Fair.
So Tucker and Dale versus Evil, satirical. I mean, it was kind of a spoof on horror movies, and oh my God, I just loved the misunderstanding between the college kids and the rednecks. It was super clever.
That's pretty awesome.
And it rated up there with Cabin in the Woods as the perfect kind of silly but gory, movie to watch on Halloween. I'm looking forward to A Christmas Horror Story again, the Canadian film. It's on Netflix.
I haven't seen that. I might have to see if I can check it out, but I have to show the roommate another classic Christmas movie, Lethal Weapon.
Yes!
Yeah.
I showed her Die Hard last year. This year, Lethal Weapon.
Fair enough.
So, Cathy, how many shots of Kraken do you have to watch that movie?
One, because it'd be nice to just, be warm and cozy.
I think that's exactly what I gave it to.
Just enough to cause it an issue.
Yeah. Just enough to get by the tiny bit of awkwardness that comes occasionally and just cruise on through.
So, all right. So Kathy gave her first rating. John and I both have a movie that we both saw. So we're going to
Yep.
talk about Thor Ragnarok.
Fuck yes.
All right. I'm just going to go. This is going to be spoiler free, but I'll tell you the first like 5-10 minutes of it, I was sitting there and I was like, hell yeah, bitches. This is what I wanted to see from Thor.
Yeah, if you're listening to this in the future and you're deciding whether or not you want to watch Thor Ragnarok on some sort of video service, if you're in for the first 5 minutes, you're good. If for some reason you're not, this is not the movie for you, eject.
I was in for the trailer.
Yeah, then you're in. I mean,
So, yeah.
most people are going to
yeah.
be in. It's exactly what you think from that. Like we said with, like you said with Cabin in the Woods and Dale and Tucker vs. Evil, every time you think it's going to be scary, it goes to comedy instead. Every time you think this movie is going to get down and depressing, it goes to comedy instead.
Nice. Nice.
I would say to a fault it does that, but it's not a big fault.
There
In
were
fact-
some times I was like, okay, we're going to get serious. Oh, here comes the joke.
Yeah,
You
here's
could
the
see it
joke,
coming
yeah.
at one point.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like this is more a defense mechanism versus DC, because DC could have used a little help into this in some of their movies.
Mhm.
And I like it, but it's consistent. It's not like it does it hit or miss. It is consistent through the entire movie, which makes it okay. I could pick a ton of nits with this movie, but it just ain't worth it because it was a good time. Everyone agrees Korg is the best character. And Korg is actually voiced by the director of the movie, which is awesome.
See, I didn't know who. I was wondering who that was, and I was like, who is that voice?
There's a ton of cameos, most of them all in one scene, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a great, fun movie. You will enjoy the heck out of it. If you don't enjoy the heck out of it, you're probably listening to the wrong podcast.
Yeah. I mean,
Very
there were
much-
some.
This is our kind of movie.
Yes, it was very entertaining. You didn't have to know about the characters to know anything about it. There wasn't.
No,
You didn't have to watch you didn't have to watch the previous two. The best out of all three Thor movies to begin with.
I would agree. Yeah, I would definitely agree. It was the most enjoyable of all three Thor movies.
Yes.
I think purely from a review standpoint, if I was to get technical and really deep in it, I really like the first one better. But this completes it as a trilogy. It's great. You see how Thor has grown from that first movie to now,
Yeah.
and how he's changed even in this movie. And there's a great scene with Thor and Loki that is the heart of those two, and it's good.
Yes.
Even though they're not trying to, they don't really get so much. I'm not gonna say it's like the feels, but it's definitely very good scene, and this movie's great. Go watch it. It is super fun. Jeff Goldblum plays Jeff Goldblum to a T.
It's hilarious.
I would hope so.
They don't need to make a character. It's like, here's your character, Jeff Goldblum. Just make him very Jeff Goldblum-y.
Yes. It was really, really good. The characters were great. Of course, special effects was on key. Comedy was great.
And if you're a Thor fan, every scene you see in the trailer that looked like it might have been trailer bait because it was directly from a comic book was actually in the movie and
Yes.
pertinent at that point to the movie.
I mean, there's times in there when you're seeing some scenes, you're like, yeah, get it, you fuck his ass up, bitch. You're just like,
Yeah.
yes.
I would say the only actual criticism I could make is, man, I wish Carl Urban could have had more time and had a little more depth as Scourge. But
Yeah.
that movie,
I-
if any real problem with this movie is it feels like it could have been 2 or 3 movies all in one. This could have been like a series, like here's your 8 to 10 episode, hour long, episode series of Thor. They could have been that.
I'll tell you though, Hela, Kate Blanchett's, oh man,
Yeah.
every time she's on the screen, you're like, damn, she's a bad bitch. And I'll tell you right now, I was sitting there watching it, I was like, she is cool as hell. And I liked everything she said, but I was like, and she is sexy as hell in this movie too. Because you're just like, this girl's got moves, she's got attitude, everything. And you're just like,
Yeah.
If you weren't
She
evil,
was-
I'd have a crush on you.
She was kind of a one-note villain, but her note was understandable. And man, I love how they just get people who chew the scenery as villains so often.
Yes.
Just like, I'm just going to choose the scenery. I'm going to go all in and be as, I don't want to say ridiculous, but as comic booky as I can be and just run with it. And it's great.
Oh, yeah. She was
And this
amazing in it.
And this is very much more a Guardians of the Galaxy style movie than a Earth style Marvel movie.
That was
Correct.
kind of the impression I got from the trailer. So
Yeah.
Yes,
Absolutely.
it was very, very much. You could put it within the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
On that, there are actually 2 after credit scenes.
Yep.
So stay through all that. I had to check it up before we got up. I'm like, okay, 2.
Yeah.
And
I always
had to
wait till
look
the
up.
end anyways, but
Yeah, I actually had to look up what one of the end scenes were. I was like a little confused, but it was okay.
you
But
get the idea. You're like, I'm pretty sure I know what this is going to be. They set it up pretty well.
Yeah, so we had to do that. There was some good homage to other Marvel movies or things happening in the Marvel universe. So it definitely was in on those things.
Mhm.
You know, you weren't just like, oh, I'm just not going to be able to do this, or oh, where'd that come from? You're like, no, you recognize it. It fits. I'm actually going to go really weird with my rating, but I'll let you go.
I'm going to give it one shot of crack because you definitely want to loosen up a little bit because it's not going to be terribly serious. I mean, but the parts that are serious, if you really take them to their conclusion, are really kind of dark, but they don't run it that way. And the one shot will just keep you loose for the whole thing, keep you good.
Okay.
What do you think?
All right. I'm going to reverse it a different because while I agree with you on your assumption of one shot of Kraken just to keep you loose, I really think that you should take shots throughout the entire movie just so you're like, hell yeah, and then make a shot.
So you're as silly as the people in the movie are?
Yes.
Yes.
Right on.
This would be a good drunk movie, absolutely.
Yeah, a good. I mean, every single time. I mean, just because it was a really good, fun movie, and it was like that, and that was about it. Not drinks so you can forget about it, drinks you can get with it, type thing. 100%. It was an amazing, fun movie.
Yeah.
More than anything.
Awesome, legit. And next week, I have promised to Don Jamaris that I will review Justice League. I'm going to see it Thursday after work. It's actually getting pretty solid reviews.
Good.
The villain, they said the villain's a little cookie cutter and some of the, the story's a little mediocre, but it's only 2 hours long and the heroes are all great from what I hear. So sounds good. I had to see it anyways because I said to my buddy when I was watching Thor, I'm like, if I told the 12-year-old John that there's a Justice League movie and I'm not seeing it opening day, he would punch me straight in the dick.
I really hope.
For all the Justice League cartoons I watched as a kid, yeah.
Yeah.
I really hope it's good. It's going to really, really irk me if it's not. I'm going to really get mad.
You'll find out next week. I'm sure it'll be better than the other 2 movies I watched during this preceding 2 weeks that I'm sure I'll get to talk about at some point. Actually, no, I'll do it right now. Bullet to the Head, starring Sylvester Stallone at his worst accent, unintelligible, and the Asian guy from the Fast and the Furious series. Don't watch it. It's not terrible. It's just not worth your time. It feels unfinished, and it's just not. There are a million better action movies to watch. Just find one of them and watch that instead.
But you know what? The original Judge Dredd is not one of them.
Watch that instead. That movie is much more enjoyable. Much more.
If you have to watch Sylvester Stallone at all, yeah.
Stallone, honestly, you should. I hate to say this. Just bear with me. Watch him in a serious role. Watch First Blood. Watch one of the first couple Rocky
First Blood
movies.
was good, yeah.
Watch Rambo, the last movie. Those are all great movies. If you're in an action movie thing, go for the last. Rambo movie. That movie was great. That's more his speed, as crazy as it sounds. Or just go straight ridiculous and watch like Judge Dredd or Over the Top or something. And then the other movie I watched on Netflix was Man with the Iron Fist 2. My review.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
That's me face palming for those of you at home. Yeah, no, don't just watch it. It's just not worth it. I mean, they get a strong cast to go with the RZA, but it's not bad. It's not good again. It's mediocre. There are a ton of better kung fu movies, whether they're just absolutely silly, ridiculous fun, or greater, better kung fu moves. This movie is just like, it was a thing that started too slowly and moved too slowly throughout it. It's just
That's so sad. Watch
Yeah.
anything with Jackie Chan.
absolutely any of the old Jackie Chan movies. My favorite go-to kung fu movie is actually
Kung
Iron
Pao.
Monkey. No, Iron Monkey. Dude, I love Kung Pao. Don't you know I've Kung Pao. I love Kung Pao. But
Kung
Iron
Fu
Monkey,
Hustle.
well, Hustle's great. But Iron Monkey is my go-to martial arts movie. A little bit of silly, great action. Donnie Yen. Donnie Yen's awesome. Only about an hour and 45 long. Doesn't overstay its welcome. Just boom, boom, done. That's a great movie. Watch that instead. Oh my gosh. There you go. Gonzo, I watch movies. Are you happy?
Yes, I'm happy. All right, guys. So let's recap. Cathy, welcome to the podcast.
Yay!
an honor.
Thank you. Thank
We're
you.
so
It's
happy
been
that you're here.
fun for this first couple hours.
So with that said, Cathy will be working on your video, guys. If you're at the $5 level, she'll be talking about bases. John's minis and movies. What are you going to be working on?
I am talking about this time. God, what movie is next? Ant-Man is next for the movie, and topic is you've decided not to get out of a game. What's a good way to take a break from a game while you're waiting to for things to sort of get together so you can jump back in?
Like going from like a Mark 1 to Mark 2 or Mark 2 to Mark 3 type thing?
Or like you're sitting there, Mark 3's come out, you've decided you need a break before you jump back in. How do you make sure you take the right break? What do you do in the meantime?
Cool beans.
When I took a break, we'll discuss that later.
Yeah. Maybe we can do maybe y'all can do a minis and movies together one time.
Oh, team up. Oh my gosh.
Team up.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
So I will also, and I'm going to try my hardest this week, guys. I'm going to try to get y'all a bonus video out. I'm going to review the Dark Souls board game.
Oh shit.
Oh, cool, yeah.
And try to get out. And it'll be a video one. I'll definitely put it out as an audio, but I definitely will show the miniatures off.
Yeah.
So with that said, here's our sign out. What?
I'm going to, over the course of the week, I'm going to also post pictures of my progress with the Goliath gangers on our Facebook page.
Oh, sweet.
Sweet.
So look for that, guys. Cathy will be putting up the Goliath gangers on our Facebook page, so you can see all of her progress, which she has really taken to posting on our Facebook page, which I really appreciate, because that gives me so I don't have to like rush every single time to get stuff up. So again, Cathy, thanks for joining the podcast. And with that, we'll be signing out. I'm Gonzo.
I'm John.
I'm Cathy.
Good night, people. If you're not dancing, you're wrong.
I feel like that was like Hard Rock Coco and Joe. You guys don't know what I'm talking about, do you? Because you don't live in Chicago. I didn't grow up in Chicago, but Hard Rock Coco and Joe, Google it. It's Christmas time in Chicago.
Fair enough. The Chicago. Chicago.
You know what? I feel like you're being the chipmunk from Caddyshack. Is that what you're doing? I'm alright. Nobody worry about me.
With my size, I'm actually the chipmunk from Caddyshack too. Gives the guy a little fatter.
I'll be from 1, you be from 2.